Hello everybody, in this video I want to show you the effects of the center of gravity of the club head on ball flight and on the shaft. So let's get started. About center of gravity or CG in a club head, you're talking basically about the three axis points, i.e. the x-axis from heel to toe, the y-axis which is from the sole to the crown, and the z-axis which is from back to front or front to back. Now these three axes will meet at some point in the middle of the golf club, generally slightly towards the face and pretty much in the middle, pretty much in this point here. Now depending on where the weights are moved on the head, you can change these center of gravity positions, and that will change the trajectory of the ball and the dynamic of the club. So on the new driver from Titleist to TSR4, you've got weights which can you move from the back and the front. The original weight at the front is 11 grams and the weight at the back is 3 grams. So in this test what I just did was just change the weights around to see what would happen with the trajectory and also with the shaft. And I'm going to show you these results now. So here are the results on foresight. In the red you have the head with the weight forward, and in green with the weight back. So first thing we got is a little bit more ball speed with the weight going forwards, and the launch angle a little lower, so you can already imagine that the dynamic loft is going to be slightly lower with the weight going forwards. The reaction is going to be also with the spin, which is going to be straight away lower. So we've got higher ball flight with the weight back and more spin. The launch direction was slightly more to the right with the weight back, and as you can see there was less dispersion with the weight back than with the weight forward. So the further you move that weight forward, the easier it's going to be to turn the club over, i.e. less tolerance with the weight forward than the weight back. Carry distance was exactly the same, and total distance obviously a little bit longer because of the lack of spin with the weight forwards. So two completely different trajectories with the same club head, just by moving the weight backwards and forwards. So here we are on my gears system, two golf clubs, so with the weight forward in the yellow on the left and the weight back in the blue on the right. Now what I like to show you here, I'm just going to move these clubs both down in the downswing to just pretty much horizontal parallel with the ground. And what I'd like to look at here is basically how the shaft is deflecting forwards, so the positive deflection of the shaft at this moment. So we're just with the shaft sort of this position, the weight forwards were pretty much 10 millimeters in positive deflection at this moment, and with the weight back we're at 13. Now I move this to impact with both. You can see that there's going to be more deflection, positive deflection with the weight back than with the weight forward, i.e. there's 44 millimeters of positive deflection here for the blue one and 39.50 for the yellow one. And this is going to have two effects. So let us scroll back up here and we can look at the dynamic loft. So the loft here, an impact on the blue one is at 22 degrees now, and for the yellow one we are at 1839. So just moving the weight back has created more positive deflection on the blue shaft than the yellow, and it's also created a lower impact point, which is going to increase spin. So just by changing the weights, we've changed not only the dynamic of the club, but also the dynamic of the shaft, the impact point, the launch angle, and the spin. So just to recap, by changing the different weights on this Titleist TSR4, you can completely change the trajectory, the height and the spin, but also how the shaft works, the deflection, but also the way I felt while swinging it. It felt much more stable with the weight back. It felt as I could close it very much easier with the weight forward. So just by changing the different masses on a head, you could completely change the way the club works.